welcome to Ask Your Academic. Today's session will cover the MSc Bioinformatics, and we're joined by Dr. Kathryn Crouch, who is hopefully going to answer all the questions you have about the programme. If you've got any questions that are specific to sort of funding, scholarships, accommodation, things like that, I'm going to pop some useful chat links into the chat box for you. And we've also got an online postgraduate event coming up on the 7th of May, which is a university-wide event, and that will cover all those sort of different topics. So that'll be a really good resource for you if you've got anything to do with that. We are recording today's session, so if you do miss anything, don't worry. We will share it with you after, probably in the next couple of days. We'll also upload it to YouTube and our website. So if you do miss it, you're fine. Yes, I think that covers all our housekeeping. So Kathryn, would you like to introduce yourself? Just a bit about yourself and the programme would be great.
Yep, of course. So welcome everybody. My name's Dr. Kathryn Crouch and I am the Programme Director for the MSc Bioinformatics programme. This is my second year running the programme, so I'm fairly new to this as well, but the programme itself has been running for a really long time now and I'm taking it over from Mark Bailey, who can't join us today, but who's still involved with the programmes and has a lot of background in the area. So we've got lots of support there. I'm originally an immunologist, actually. My PhD and my bachelor's are in immunology. And then I moved into bioinformatics and did an MSc myself in 2013 in bioinformatics. And I've been working in the bioinformatics field ever since then, both in support roles and in research, and also a bit in software development as well. So I also have quite a lot of background in both bioinformatics and applying it to various areas of biology as well. The program is obviously, hopefully you're aware, it's a one-year MSc program. It's 2/3 of the program is taught courses, and then 1/3 is an independent research project, obviously in the area of bioinformatics. The majority of the people who join the course have biology-based undergraduate degrees. And little or no experience with really using computers in a technical way like programming. So we're really trying to get you all up to speed with that so that you gain those skills to apply them to biology-based scenarios. So the first semester, we're about trying to give you a toolkit. We teach you about some of the technologies that are used for generating bioinformatics data. We teach you some programming skills in both Python and R, and we teach you statistics. And that's your sort of toolkit that you can then take forward to the rest of the course. The courses in semester 2 are more project-based. So a lot of those are based around someone's research or someone's paper, and through the course of the course you'll use the skills you got from semester 1 to work through that analysis that was done in the paper and think about the analysis you're doing in the context of the biology. And there's various different scenarios there, and then at the end you go on to do your independent research project where you'll join a lab and do a not completely novel research project with them.
Perfect. And this is a really difficult question to answer, but we're always asked, so how many hours a week of class time should an MSc student expect?
So yeah, that is quite a difficult question to answer, sorry. And for this course, it does vary quite a lot through the duration of the program. So the first semester, we run courses concurrently. So at any given time in the semester, you'll actually be doing 3 different courses at the same time, 1 or 2 days for each course per week. And so your timetables are pretty full in the first semester. The second semester runs in a different way. So those are what we call short, fat courses, which basically means that you do 1 course at a time, but they don't last very long. So there'll either be 3-week blocks or 5-week blocks, and you just do 1 course for that 3-week period or 5-week period. And with those, it really depends on what the course is, who's running it, how they prefer to run their course. And so it can be quite variable depending on what options you take. Yeah, I think that's the best way of answering that. It is a busy timetable. We do only have a 1 year period to teach you as much as we can. So yeah, it do expect it to be quite a busy timetable.
Perfect. With those optional courses, when are students expected to pick those? Is that right at the start, or is there a sort of period of time where they make their choice?
So the course selection happens in November. We will run before the course selection, we'll run a Q&A session for all of the registered students to let you know more detail about what the different optional courses are, and what you can expect from each of them. And at that time, you'll also have an opportunity to meet with an advisor to discuss your course selections and what might be best for you, given what you might want to do with your career going forwards. And then you'll have a period of about 2 weeks after that meeting to submit your selections. But yeah, that will happen towards the end of semester one. So you'll have some time to think about it and think about what you're enjoying from semester one and what you're not enjoying so much.
I'm sure that'll put many people at ease because I think people panic that they have to know
Yeah.
everything at the start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, that's good. And I suppose when you register, your timetable will become a bit more clearer in terms of when you're in
Yeah,
classes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. And in terms of those classes, whereabouts are they typically held? Are they all on main campus or are they a bit
They are
scattered?
almost all on the main campus. Um, a lot of our classes are take place in computer labs. And there's two main computer labs we use. One's in the Boyd Orr building and one's in the Sir James Black building. The lectures are a little bit more scattered, but we don't run any at Cube. They're all on the main campus. So yeah.
Perfect. It's big enough.
Yes.
And I know this will vary across the different optional courses and stuff, but how many students are typically in the different classes?
So the program, we try to cap the program at around 40 students. And the reason for that is because that's roughly what we can hold in one of the computer rooms at a time. So the largest classes you'll be in will be around that number, 40 students. Some of the options may be less than that, but I wouldn't expect you to be in classes that are bigger than 40.
And someone's asked actually what types of teaching class styles can be expected. So is it a mix of online, offline, or online in class?
So the majority of it is face to face. We have a few online options, but not very many of those. The majority of what we do, you would be expected to actually attend. The the most of the program is quite practical. So we're trying to teach you programming and data analysis skills, and that although they're sat at a computer rather than in a lab, they're still practical skills. So a lot of our teaching takes place in computer labs, um, where you'll have exercises to work through and staff around to discuss. We do have obviously lecture sessions as well, which we need to do to try and get you to understand what you'll be doing in the computer labs. But the ratio is probably about 2/3 computer labs to 1/3 lecture time. So it's quite a practical course from that perspective.
Great. And in terms of assessments, how do those work? Is there a mix of exams, assessments? Is there different types of assessments?
Yeah, so the majority of the assessments are coursework based. The whole program has two exams, which both take place in December, but most of the courses on the program don't use exams as a form of assessment. Um, the coursework is quite varied. So some of it is doing data analysis, and writing reports. Some of it's programming. So some of it will require you to write code. Some of it will be writing more scientific based reports in the format of a paper. And we also have a small number of assessments that are presentation based. So for those, you would require to give a presentation to the class about something, and be assessed on that. So yeah, that's quite varied.
Perfect. And what I will say is on our programme webpage, you'll find that all the courses should link, and that should give you a bit more about the assessment sort of makeup
Mhm.
for each of the courses. Um, So one of the questions that came through, and actually I should say, if you've got any other questions, please use the Q&A box and we'll keep an eye on that. But one of the questions was, I have little experience in programming and would like to ask about any resources I could use to become more familiar with the subject before the course begins.
So we we work on the assumption that the majority of the people joining the course will have done nothing. Okay, so there's no requirement for you to do anything before the course starts. We will bring everyone up from scratch. Having said that, I understand that a lot of people are very keen to do a bit of pre-term reading. Um, the there's three different things you could look at, and all of them have extensive free online tutorials. So my advice would be to find something that suits your learning style, um, and play around with that. The three things that are useful are Python. So all of our programming is taught in Python, and there are lots and lots of free Python tutorials out there to get started with. R, a lot of our data science and data visualization work is done in R. And likewise, there's lots and lots of free tutorials out there for that. And the Linux command line is the third thing. That's a bit harder to get going with because you need a Linux computer or some kind of emulator to make it work. But again, there are some free tutorials out there. But again, just to emphasize, there's no actual requirement for you to do anything before the course starts.
Perfect. And I think one thing to mention as well is if you've got an offer for the programme, there's clearly something there that you're capable of doing the programme. So yeah, don't
Yeah,
stress too
yeah, yeah,
much.
yeah, absolutely.
And in terms of equipment, is there anything that a student should come with? Is there a computer or anything specific?
So most students will bring a laptop with them. Again, that's not a requirement. So a lot of bioinformatics software is run on Linux computers, rather than Windows or Mac. And we provide you, we set everything you need up on servers, and you can log into those servers remotely. We provide you with, for example, in the computer teaching rooms, there are actually PCs in those rooms that you can use to make that remote connection to the server. So you don't need anything. A lot of people do like to bring a laptop just for, writing reports and stuff on. That laptop can be whatever you're comfortable with. We can always help you to connect that laptop to the remote servers as well if you want to.
Perfect. So no need to run it and buy anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, most
Yeah,
people will bring either a standard Windows PC or a Mac. Either way is fine. And if you can't do something on your personal computer, then we will provide the infrastructure for you to do it.
perfect. And in terms of the research project, could you tell us a bit more about that? So how does a student go about choosing a topic, a supervisor?
Yeah, so there are a couple of different routes to that. The one that most people take is, the program directors, myself and Mark, will gather a list of projects, and that will be sent round to students in February. And then you'll have a couple of weeks in which you can make contact with the supervisors who you think might be offering interesting projects, and make a decision for yourself. That's a two-way thing. So the supervisor has to want you and you have to want the project. And there's usually a good choice there. So this year we had about we had more projects than we had students. So that meant that everyone had at least a little bit of choice. If you really want to do something that's not on the list, you are allowed to organize that. And that can be either within the university or outside of the university. That requires a little bit more work from you because we need to then approve the project that you've planned with someone, to make sure it is appropriate for the course. But yeah, there is the opportunity there for you to really do whatever you want to do. But most people do pick something off our list.
Perfect. And in terms of that, I'm assuming that comes later on in the year, not at the start.
Yeah, so we try and circulate the project list to students in February and have them make their choice by the end of March. that may happen very slightly earlier next year because there's some administrative reasons why we need to get that sort of fixed early. But it's not going to happen in the first semester. It will definitely be in the second semester.
Perfect. So students have got a bit of time to learn what they like, learn what they
Yeah.
don't like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. And then one of the questions we had was how does the Bioinformatics MSc address the current skills gap with the current advancements in bioinformatics?
So yeah, this is an interesting question. Bioinformatics is obviously a field that's moving really, really fast at the moment, and we also only have a year, so we cannot realistically teach you everything that there is to know about bioinformatics. Part of our approach here is what I was describing before about trying to give you a toolkit of tools that you can use to do bioinformatics work, and then some experience in applying those tools in various different scenarios. And the idea then is that if you go off after you've graduated, you may meet a different scenario, but you've got the toolkit and you've got experience of applying that toolkit, and then it's up to you to then figure out how to apply that toolkit in slightly different ways. But we hope that we're giving everyone a good background to be able to, yeah, apply what they've learned in different scenarios outside of the course.
Perfect. And that leads on nicely to what kind of jobs people go into after graduation.
Yeah, so quite a lot of our graduates go on to do PhDs, and there's really, I guess, two different types of PhDs that people will go on to. Some people do sort of hard bioinformatics PhDs where their work is about developing new methods or yeah, doing something that hasn't been done before in the bioinformatics world. The other half of that group do what I'd call more biology PhDs, but where there's an element of data analysis that is going to require bioinformatics skills. So those are more sort of mixed. They might do some wet lab work to create data and then do the analysis for that data. Other things that people do, we've got quite a few people who go on to stay in academia but do work as a technician or a bioinformatics service. So they'll maybe work helping a lab or a group of labs with bioinformatics analysis if those labs don't have the capability to do it themselves. Um, we have we've had quite a few people who've gone into industry jobs in various different scenarios doing bioinformatics. We've had two or three people over the last couple of years who've gone to work for the Sanger Centre. So that's one of the UK's biggest sort of bioinformatics sequencing centres. We have some people who work in the area of creating software resources for biologists to use. And we've had one or two students who've not stayed in the biology field at all, but they have actually gone on to do sort of data science in other arenas, so more computer science. We've had a couple of people who've gone into the finance world, which seems like a bit of a leap, but actually that requires a lot of data science skills that overlap with this course as well. So yeah, whole big variety of different things. Oh, the NHS as well. The NHS is really looking for bioinformatics skills at the moment. So we have quite a few people going in that direction. And
Wow, it sounds
probably
like there's
healthcare services in other countries as well. Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like there's a real mix. Um,
Yeah.
that kind of actually ties in. There's a question that's came through our Q&A, and it's I just wanted to ask if there are any past students going from data scientist field after completing MSc Bioinformatics. So I'm assuming yes.
Yes, I think that's yes. I'm not clear what you mean by going from data science field, but I think that is probably a yes. I think we
Yeah,
might
going back.
probably just copied that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Perfect. And then another question that we've got here is I'm from a more computer science background. Are there any resources or books you'd recommend to read during the summer that are more bio orientated?
Yeah, so I did say earlier that we the majority of our students are from a biology background and don't have too much in the way of computer science skills coming in. But most years we do have a small number of students who are from a computer science background or sometimes a maths background. Those people tend to have more computer science skills and need to catch up with the biology. At the moment, the way our program is structured, because we don't have too many people in that position, it's slightly unfortunate that it is a requirement that you do at least do the assessment for the basic programming course in semester one. A lot of people use that time, though, rather than attending lectures for stuff that they've done before, will use that time to self-study and catch up with the biology. And we can also offer you the opportunity, if you're in that situation, to audit some of our undergraduate courses, which will help you catch up with the biology as well. So for those, you can go and sit in on the lectures and in any lab classes, but you don't need to do the assessments for those. It's just an opportunity for you to learn. If you want to catch up in advance, almost any textbook with the word molecular biology in the title is going to be helpful for you. So a lot of what we assume you're going to understand already is about what DNA is, how DNA is made into protein, and what proteins do in a cell. If you can get yourself up to speed on that process, that would be the most helpful thing to do. And most undergraduate level textbooks that have the words molecular biology in the title are going to give you that information. And you can often pick those up secondhand rather than having to buy them new. Or if you're already in university, have a look in your university library.
Perfect. I think that's yeah, really good advice there. You're not completely left on your own, and there is things in place to help. I think we've covered off all the questions we received beforehand, and we've covered all the ones that are in the Q&A. So yeah, if we've got a couple of minutes, that if you've got any other questions, please do pop them in the chat. Kathryn, I don't know if there's anything that you feel we've not covered that we should maybe touch upon, or if everything's pretty much been covered.
I don't think I had anything else particularly. I am of course happy to answer any other questions if any pop into the chat in the next minute or two, but I don't think there was anything particularly that I wanted to add.
Yeah, no, I think you've covered a lot of stuff there in a very short period of time. I'll just quickly say it again, but if there's any questions that aren't related to your the programme, we've got that online postgraduate event on the 7th of May, and I've shared the link in the chat box there. And another thing is, I know that a lot of information has been shared today, that if you go away and you think of any other questions, if you do have any questions, don't think you can't ask them now. You'll find the administration email address on the programme webpage, and if you send any questions you've got to that email address, the administration team are brilliant, that they'll get back to you with any questions you might have. We've just had a question pop up here. Will this course touch on computational biology? I know the course is bioinformatics, but can we audit the course a little?
So I mean, there is quite a big overlap between computational biology and bioinformatics anyway. So yeah, we do touch on aspects of computational biology. I don't know if the university has any specific computational biology courses. There may be some in computer science. If so, it very much depends on the course. So if they're very lab-based courses and the labs are full, then it's difficult to audit them. But it's usually fairly easy to audit lectures, for example, because there's usually space in lecture rooms. So it depends on. I would need to do some digging and find out if there's anything appropriate, and we would have to ask the course coordinator for that course how their course is running and if that's possible. But in principle, yes, if there are things you want to audit and it's not interfering with the assessments that you need to do for this course, then yes, absolutely.
I do always love those kind of questions because I think at the start people are always really keen and eager, and
Uh-huh.
then when they start, they realise the work they've got to do, that it's not always as easy to attend other
Yeah.
lectures and courses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it is a good point that the we said about the people who have a computer science background that they maybe don't need to compare to attend the programming lectures and can use that time to audit stuff. But actually, outside of that, our timetable really is quite full, and a lot of people do find it difficult to fit that in. Having said that, if you want to do it and it's possible and you're coping with the course, then we will support it. So yeah.
perfect. One thing I've learned is from speaking to MSc students is that a year goes really quickly, and actually
Uh-huh.
when you start, if you've maybe not been in education for a little while or you've came from undergrad, it is a bit different. So actually getting used to that can take a bit of time, and then before you know it, you're a few months in, and then you've not
Yeah.
got long left.
And one thing that is true of any MSc program is that it's a slight step up from undergraduate programs in how much work you're expected to do in your own time outside of the taught courses as well. So that's also going to add to your load a little bit as well. That's not just for this course, that's really for any MSc course. But yeah.
Perfect. Well, I think that's a nice place to wrap up. We've covered a lot of information. So, like I said, if you do have any other questions, please do contact us. The administration email address is on the website. And yeah, it's been lovely to chat with you, Kathryn. And yeah, hopefully we'll see all of you in September. So thanks very much for your time. Bye bye.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.